Overheard my husband's best friend making disgusting comments about someone young at my daughter's birthday party, but my husband defended him when I confronted him. Me, 42F, and my husband, 45M, have been married for almost 19 years now. We met at a friend's party back in college, started dating, and have been together since. We have 5 children, 17M, 16F, 14M, 10M, 6M, who are generally good kids. Any fights or disagreements we have are usually over parenting decisions or how to handle situations with the kids. Which is kinda what this started as, but has turned into something way more effed up. We have a pool in our backyard that we put in a few summers ago. Cost a fortune, but the kids love it and we figured it would add value to the house or whatever. Anyway, we had a large amount of people over this weekend to celebrate my daughter's sweet 16. Of course most of the guests were teenage girls/boys from her school, but family and some of our friends came too. It was supposed to be a fun day for her to feel special and celebrate with people she cares about. One of the guests was my husband's best friend, also 45M, and his girlfriend, 32F. We'll call him H for this post. They've known each other since high school, played on the same football team, and have that whole brothers before hoes mentality that I generally just roll my eyes at. They've done all those stupid guy trips and stuff together over the years. H is divorced, has been for about 7 years. No kids of his own. I've never been too extremely fond of H or the age gap between him and his current girlfriend. It always gave me a weird vibe, especially since this is like his 3rd girlfriend in the last 6 years and they all keep getting younger, which I've pointed out to my husband before, but he just said H has a type and to leave it alone. But our children consider and call him their uncle. He's been around for their entire lives. My daughter even made him a world's best uncle mug for Christmas when she was younger. I'm close enough to his girlfriend to consider her a friend though, so it's not like I completely hated the guy or anything. My daughter has been planning this party for months. All her friends were having big sweet 16 parties, some families rented out actual venues which we couldn't afford, so she wanted one too. I tried to make it special without going completely broke. So we compromised and went all out decorating our house instead. The pool was all decorated with these floating lights and streamers, and so was the inside and outside of the house. We got these custom banners made with her name and pictures of her growing up. We had rented some tables and chairs, set up a little DJ area for her friend who's really into music, and basically transformed our backyard into a party space. I even ordered this really nice cake from a bakery across town that was honestly overpriced, but I wanted her day to be special. And per her request, she was the only one at the party in a red bathing suit so she would stand out. All her friends wore either blue or black. She wanted red to be her color for the day or whatever. I thought it was a cute idea, and it actually looked really nice in the photos. My husband thought it was stupid teenage girl stuff but went along with it. The day of the party started off great. My husband was grilling, the kids were swimming, music was playing, everyone seemed to be having a good time. I spent most of the morning running around making sure everything was perfect, and was finally able to relax a bit once everyone arrived. I got some nice pics for social media, and was feeling pretty proud of pulling it all off without any disasters. Then things went to shit. I was in the laundry room grabbing some extra towels because a couple of the kids had gotten out of the pool and were dripping everywhere. The laundry room is right next to my husband's office, which is where we had told everyone to put their bags and stuff when they arrived. As I was getting the towels, I overheard H talking in the office. I initially thought he was talking to someone else in there, but I realized pretty quickly that he was on the phone since nobody was responding to him. He was saying how she was hotter than the girls he'd known as a teen, and he kind of wished she 18. That any boy who after would be doing a service to God, and she looked too good in a red bathing suit. And then he laughed and said something like, I know, right? Red's always been my favorite color. There was more, but honestly I think I blocked it out because I was so shocked and disgusted. I just stopped moving. I wasn't immediately jumping to action, I was confused and trying to process what I was hearing. This is a man my children grew up with, who babysitted them when they were younger, stayed many nights over at our house for game nights or BBQs or whatever, talking about my daughter in a way no grown man should ever talk about a child. Like it took me a minute to even believe what I was hearing. My first thought was maybe I misheard or he was talking about someone else. But he specifically mentioned the red bathing suit, my daughter was the only one in red. Then I thought maybe it was some sick joke he was making to whoever was on the phone. Either way, it was completely fucked up. I don't really remember walking to the room, it was like I was on autopilot. I marched outside and dragged my husband away from the grill into the house to the office where H was. I probably looked crazy to the other guests, and I saw my sister-in-law raise her eyebrows at me as I basically yanked my husband away mid-conversation. I didn't care. I'll admit, I yelled and told H he wasn't allowed in my house or around any of our family again, especially our daughter, and to leave immediately, before telling my husband anything. I know that seems backwards, but I was so furious I couldn't even form sentences properly. I was seeing red. H got red in the face and immediately started cussing at me and my husband for eavesdropping. Called me a fucking bitch and said we were invading his privacy in our own damn house. I screamed at H to tell my husband what he was saying in my house about my daughter. H got even more mad before storming out and leaving in his girlfriend's car, without his girlfriend. He didn't say goodbye to anyone, just grabbed his stuff and left. The whole time my husband was standing there looking back and forth between us like he had no idea what was happening. He was getting irritated and demanded to know what happened, so I took a second to try to calm down before telling him what I'd heard. I was shaking, I was so angry. When I told him, he just stood there with this blank expression. Then he said we would deal with it later and just let our daughter have a great rest of the party. That we shouldn't make a scene and ruin her day. I agreed because I didn't want to ruin her day, and we rejoined the party, even though we got a few looks from people who had heard the yelling. My sister-in-law kept trying to get me to tell her what happened, but I just said it was a misunderstanding. I tried to put on a happy face, but I felt sick to my stomach and kept watching my daughter, wondering if H had ever done or said anything to her directly. H's girlfriend, let's call her S, came up to me towards the end of the party asking why H was spamming her phone telling her that I was a bitch, asshole, basically all the derogatory terms you can think of, even going as far to say I was a whore just like my slut daughter. I was extremely appalled and dragged her over to my husband, who gave me an exasperated look. He told me to let it die for just a bit and he will talk to H after the party. I felt like I was going insane. How was he being so calm about this? The rest of the party went on without any more incidents, but I couldn't enjoy it. I kept thinking about what H had said, and kept an eye on my daughter the whole time. She didn't seem to notice anything was wrong and was having fun with her friends, which was the only positive. After everyone left and we cleaned up, I tried to talk to my husband about it again. He said he would handle it and would go talk to H the next day. I told him I wanted H completely out of our lives. My husband said I was overreacting and that he needed to hear H's side of the story first. We argued, but he insisted on talking to H himself. That was a few days ago. My husband went to H's place and ended up staying the night there. When he finally came home, he told me I was overreacting, that H wasn't even talking about our daughter, that I shouldn't have acted the way I did, and I was connecting dots that weren't supposed to be connected. I asked him who else H could possibly have been talking about at our daughter's party, where she was the only one in a red bathing suit. My husband said H claimed he was talking to a buddy about some girl they both knew from back in high school who used to wear a red bikini. That it was just a coincidence. I was upset and told him even if it wasn't our daughter he was talking about, which is complete bullshit, he's still talking about a 16-year-old in an inappropriate way. I asked him how he could defend this creep and why he would believe such an obvious lie. And the thing is, even if it was about some girl from their high school days, which I absolutely do not believe, why the F would you be having that conversation at a teenager's birthday party? It's inappropriate no matter how you look at it. We argued for a long time. I brought up how H's girlfriends keep getting younger, how he said other weird things in the past that I had brushed off, how he seems to always want to hang around when my daughter and her friends are over. But my husband dismissed all of it. Eventually he left again, saying he was going to drive to blow off steam. Now I'm in the bathroom shaking and crying as I type this. How am I supposed to just sit back and allow this creep near any of my children? I love my husband and I think he's just been blinded by his loyalty to his friend. I don't want to get a divorce, especially because I live across the country from my family, and I don't want to leave my husband. I love him, but he isn't taking me seriously in a serious situation. It feels like he's choosing his friend over his own daughter's safety and my peace of mind. I keep thinking, even if he wasn't talking about my daughter, he was still talking about someone around the age of my daughter. It's wrong in so many ways. I would have still acted this way if it was about someone else at the party. And the fact that my husband can't see that is really concerning to me. I keep thinking this is a nightmare and I'm going to wake up, but no, it's reality. Every time I close my eyes I keep hearing what H said and imagining all the times he's been around my kids in the past. I'm just overwhelmed and don't know what to do. Should I talk to my daughter about this? My husband has never taken my concerns seriously in the past, always dismissing them as me being emotional or dramatic, but this feels different. This feels like a hill I'm willing to die on. Please help me figure out what to do next. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Edit 1. Hey guys, Op here. Holy shit, I've been reading all your comments, even though I haven't had time to respond to many, and they've been really helpful in making me feel like I'm not crazy. Thanks for everyone who responded in the comments. I appreciate every single one of you, and I've read just about every comment. My hearts go out to those who have gone through something like this in the past. It's scary how common these situations seem to be. My husband still isn't back from his drive. It's been almost 24 hours now, and he's only texted me once to say he's fine and thinking. I have a suspicion he might be out with H because I called H's girlfriend, S, to tell her everything, and she told me H left that morning and hasn't been home since. Either me or my son are going to swing by her apartment, and she's gonna stay over here for a few nights. I don't think she can stand to see H any more than I can. She's been angry at him ever since the text messages. She showed me some of the other things he's said about me, and it's just vile. To everyone asking why I didn't immediately tell my daughter, I was trying to figure out the right way to approach it. Seeing your comments helped me realize I need to be direct but gentle. I'm going to talk to her today. I'm dreading it though. What do you even say? Hey honey, your uncle who you've known your whole life is a creep who was saying sexual things about you? It just sucks all around. I've told my eldest son. He acted the way my husband should have acted. He's angry and ready to hop in the car and find both H and my husband. I feel bad involving him, but I need him to know what happened so he can protect his siblings when I'm not around. I had to actually convince him not to do anything stupid that would get him in trouble. He's always been protective of his sister. My eldest son told me that H never did anything inappropriate to him directly, but he noticed some behavior which was always strange, but he blamed it on H just being weird or socially awkward. Like how H would sometimes make comments about girls at his school or ask if any of them were hot. Or how he'd offer to drive my daughter and her friends places a lot, which I always thought was him being helpful. I feel sick thinking about all the signs I might have missed. Also, to the people telling me I should have recorded H or confronted him differently, it happened really fast and I wasn't thinking clearly. I wish I had handled it differently too, but I was just so shocked and angry. So here are my plans moving forward. 1. H isn't going to be allowed near any of my kids. Ever. This is a fine line. If I decide to stay with my husband and he tries to cross it, then he will be the next one to go. BTW my legal people, can I get a restraining orders? Is that how that works? Do I need proof beyond what I heard? 2. I'm going to tell my husband he isn't allowed home or allowed to talk to my kids. This is until I tell all of my children what happened, have talk with each of them separately. 3. Me and S are going to go through my husband's stuff and whatever she can grab from her and H's apartment. We're looking for any CP or things that are suspicious. I'm also worried about this third man, the one on the phone. Maybe S knows them. Also, not immediately the moment she gets here. We are going to wait until maybe tomorrow or even the next day. I know some of you will think I'm overreacting or jumping to conclusions about the CP, but better safe than sorry. I need to protect my kids. And honestly, after what I heard, I wouldn't put anything past H at this point. And if my husband is defending him so adamantly, I need to know there's nothing else going on that I should be aware of. We'll update again when I know more. I have a lot to process and figure out. Honestly, I'm scared of what might come next, but all your comments have given me strength. Thank you. Edit 2. I think a lot of people are misunderstanding some things from my last edit, so let me clarify. First, I didn't automatically assume my husband was into CP. It had been suggested by S over the phone after she read some of the comments on Reddit. She wanted to check H's stuff and said we should check my husband's too, just in case. It's not that I think my husband is into that, it's more about making sure H hasn't sent him anything or that there's no other evidence of concerning behavior. Trust but verify, I guess. Also, I don't know why my husband has been MIA for the past few nights. Maybe he's just waiting for me to calm down, which has been his pattern in other disagreements. I haven't sent the stay away message yet, which I might not do. But whenever we talk I'll be asking all these questions and more. For context, my husband and H met in high school and have been friends since. So there's a lot of history there. I'm quite used to my husband not backing me up, telling me I'm over-exaggerating or setting me aside has been often in our relationship. I guess this has really opened my eyes about the past. I used to just go along with it to keep the peace. One time a few years back my husband's brother made some comments about my weight after I had our fourth child, and my husband just laughed it off as a joke when I got upset. Or when H made some sexist comment at a dinner party and I called him out, my husband told me later I was being too sensitive and should learn to take a joke. It's always been like that. I just never thought it would extend to something this serious involving our children. I don't plan on divorcing him yet, even though I know I jumped the gun on it last night. If there is something that I find suspicious or will make me reconsider this, it'll be thought about long and hard. I still love my husband. I know he loves all of our kids. I'm just waiting for him to admit what H did was wrong or to apologize for dismissing me. About my kids, I will be talking to my daughter very soon, and all of y'all's advice has helped me so much on how to approach it. I think I'll say enough for her to understand without going into the graphic details. I don't want to traumatize her more than necessary. I'm just nervous about the whole conversation. A lot of you are asking for updates. I'll post if anything major happens, but right now it's just waiting for my husband to come home so we can have a real conversation about all this. S should be here in a couple hours. Thanks again for all the support. Update. Okay guys. Sorry it took a while to update, things have been crazy around here. I think I've figured this out. A lot happened and I'm stress typing this. I can't believe how supportive everyone has been, but also there have been some really nasty messages in my inbox that I'm just ignoring. So for those who did not see my comment earlier, it was buried in the thread. I'm not getting a divorce with my husband at this time. If anything sketchy or something I see that crosses a line, that notion may change though. I did not immediately assume my husband was into CP, it's something I assumed H might be into given what I heard. While on a phone call with S, she said we should go through my husband's things too. I agreed. Me and my husband have an open phone policy anyways. I'll admit I've never checked his phone since our second was born, so it's not like I was pushing boundaries by saying this. Anyway, S came over and we had a long talk. She's decided to leave H, and I'm helping her figure out how to get her stuff from their apartment. She told me H has always been a bit off, but she never suspected anything like this. She's been staying in our guest room for a couple days now. So today I had a very long talk with my second eldest son and my daughter. I told them what happened, though save a few details, like the text messages, and simply said that H had been saying inappropriate things. I told them that whatever happens going forward, it's not their fault, nor is it my daughter's in any way. It's the pedophilic mind of someone we trusted. I asked them if he, or anyone, had done anything to any of them, and if they had, that I wouldn't be angry at them, and would be proud they spoke up. These conversations are so hard to have. My daughter was upset but didn't seem super shocked, which bothers me. She said he would sometimes get too close, put his arm around her shoulders, but nothing that ever made her alarm bells go off in her head. She mentioned that sometimes he would offer to drive her places alone or invite her to come over and swim in his apartment complex's pool, but she always had other plans or I would say no. I reiterated to her that she was not to blame for what happened and it's all on H. We hugged and I held her as she cried for a bit. I felt like such a failure as a mother for not protecting her better. How did I miss these signs? My second eldest son was quiet, which he often is, but he told me that he never really liked H and thought he was weird. Said something about how H would sometimes talk about girls in a way that made him uncomfortable. I asked him again if anything happened directly to him and he said no. We talked about more things to do with this type of stuff and I think it ended well, though I'm still worried about them both. My two youngest children simply know that H did bad stuff and we won't be seeing him for a long time. I didn't want to explain too much to them since they're still little. My 10-year-old asked if H was in jail, and I said no, but that he wasn't a good person to be around. My 6-year-old just nodded and went back to his toys, hopefully too young to really understand. Then around lunchtime my husband came home. I never did go through with telling him to stay away, and he was basically sobbing at my feet outside our front door. He told me he was so confused and angry about what happened, that he was convinced his best friend wasn't like that. That he had been drinking last night after he left and fell into a bit of self-hatred. He wasn't with H though, but he had been texting with him that night. I asked him why he never stood up for me and my daughter, why he stayed the night with H after everything I told him. He said I was making a scene at our daughter's b-day party and didn't want to ruin the day for her, and he stayed the night because it was too late anyways by the time he stopped talking with H. I hate this apology though, maybe it's the comments echoing in my ears, but it felt fake and that he was minimizing my pain and maximizing his. The way he was acting felt more like he was sorry for himself than sorry for not protecting our daughter. He kept saying how hard this was for him to lose a friend of 30 years, how he felt betrayed, how he didn't know what to think. Nothing about how I felt or how our daughter might feel. He went silent when he saw S at the house though. I told him that she was staying a few nights. I didn't give him much of an explanation. Later when I started to make dinner he came up behind me and hugged me. I pushed him back, told him that I didn't want any physical touch with him anytime soon. He got angry, telling me that it was over now, that he apologized and promised to stand up for us in the future. I told him that he has to make up for what he did in the past first, that he needs to talk with our daughter. He went to go sulk somewhere and I haven't really seen much of him since. He did eventually talk to our daughter, but I have no idea what he said. She hasn't mentioned it and I don't want to pry if she's not ready to talk about it. I hope he apologized for not believing me immediately. We haven't gone through my husband's phone or computer yet. Honestly, I'm afraid of what we might find, but also kind of sure we won't find anything. I think he's just blind when it comes to his friend, not involved in anything himself. At least I hope that's the case. H has been texting and calling my husband nonstop. I've told my husband he needs to block him, but I'm not sure if he has. I overheard him on the phone yesterday having what sounded like an argument, but he took it outside so I couldn't hear what was said. S and I did check out H's phone before she left him. She knew his password. There was some gross stuff in his search history but nothing illegal that we could find. Lots of barely legal searches though, which just confirms my suspicions about him. She's planning to file for a restraining order based on some threatening texts he sent her after she left. Hopefully that made enough sense as I'm rushing the last bit. Shout out to everyone who's been helping me. It's just a lot to do in a short time now that my husband is already back in the home. Also to the misogynists who keep telling me to take a step back and breath, that my husband is being logical and I am being emotional. Scroll up 3 paragraphs to where he was blubbering on our doorstep. I'm not sure what comes next. I think I've done what I can for now to protect my kids. My husband and I are sleeping in separate rooms at the moment. We've barely spoken in the last couple days. I know we need to have a real conversation about all this and what it means for our relationship going forward, but it's hard to even look at him right. Thanks for reading all this. Sorry for any typos or if things don't make sense. It's late and I'm exhausted.